there, welcome to Abundant Source Raw, and in this video I wanted to talk about anxiety, because as far as I've been able to see, anxiety seems to be the cause of basically all discord and all unhappiness and all addictive tendencies. Anxiety is basically just not being content with yourself and being content with the moment, and it's total disconnect from oneness and unity. And so I feel that anxiety is a huge thing that we should be talking about, and realizing that anxiety is a major factor, if not the key factor in what drives discomfort and discord in your life. And nearly all action is driven by anxiety. And any action that's driven by anxiety is basically action that is working against unity and the source and the will of God. And that's why meditation is so important, and raising your awareness and doing spiritual practices is so important, because that is what's going to lower your anxiety, and it's going to help with every aspect of your life, with your thoughts and with your self-love and with your addictive tendencies and everything, because all these things are just driven by anxiety, this feeling that you have to do something, and that maybe you'll be missing out if you don't, or whatever the reason, you feel the need to do something. And there's really only two types of action, and that's action driven by anxiety, and the other action is basically driven by connectivity and unity with the source. Basically action that is driven by the will of God, and that is action that you don't think about. It's action that basically is leading you. With anxiety, you or your thoughts and this sort of bodily separate individual is leading the action, but when you are taking spiritual action, the action is basically leading you. It's not something you're thinking about, it's just something that is happening, and you are just letting life flow through you. You are calm, and all anxiety is out of you. You're not thinking about what you should be eating right now. You're not thinking that you need to be studying. You're not thinking about what you need to prepare for dinner, or going here and there and doing different chores and anything else like that. It's just thoughtless action that is basically driving your whole body. And this is huge when it comes to raw food, and being addicted to cooked food is it's all anxiety. It's all our mind playing a game with us, telling us that we want this thing and that it'll be good for us, and it's okay to have it. But that's complete anxiety, and one of the only ways to get rid of it is to sit down and do nothing until the anxiety goes away. And it's very tough to do, especially if you are not practicing it on a regular basis, because the first time you sit down to do this, your mind is going to be going at 1,000 miles an hour, telling you you need to get up and do this, and it's time to eat, and you got to go work on this project and whatever else. And the idea of meditation, at least for me, is to sit still until all thoughts and anxiety are basically dispelled, and you just are totally okay with the moment. You realize that you don't need food. I mean, the average person can fast for 6 to 8 weeks and not need food. There's nothing you need to get done, nothing that you have to do. That's all just your mind, and it's all just like a fear type of emotion, which is anxiety. And when you're in this anxious state, it's very difficult to want to sit down and get rid of it. Your mind is trying so hard to stray you away from calming yourself. It's going to keep hammering you until it gets what it wants, and it takes a lot to be able to sit down when you've got these cravings and you've got these things that you feel that you must do. It can be difficult to sit down and just wait for these thoughts to pass and for this anxiety to just go away. But it will if you just sit down and take the time to do it. And that's why I think it's really important to do meditations, you know, in the morning and before you go to sleep, because that's the easiest time to calm yourself and to get back to unity. And so doing that will help cultivate, you know, your awareness and your happiness and authenticity, and it's going to make it easier and easier to meditate pretty much any time of the day. It's going to make it much more enjoyable to meditate pretty much whenever, and it makes it much easier when you are in the middle of these different cravings and anxiety attacks, basically, to just sit down and, you know, to know that it's nothing and that you can just sit down for a little bit with yourself and it'll just go right away. But it's very hard in the beginning if you have not done these type of spiritual practices to initially sit down and do this. And it's so much easier when you're eating a raw vegan diet, because that automatically starts to raise your awareness on every level. Every aspect of your life is increased. Your mental clarity, you know, that anxiety is just automatically lowered, and so it makes it so much easier if you can get on a raw vegan diet. And the two go hand in hand. Raw veganism and meditation, they both enhance each other, and it's so amazing when you've got meditation to help you and stay on raw food, and you've got raw food to help calm yourself and calm your anxiety, so that way you can meditate and get to even deeper levels of anxiety, which in turn gets you to deeper levels of cleansing of the body, because you're just getting higher and higher with your diet. And so they really help each other out in an amazing way. And it's really going to go against that anxiety, because anxiety is all about, you know, diversity and that dual thinking. And you know, if you have anxiety and you feel like you need to do something, then it just means that you're a little out of sync with the source, and it's probably going to lead you to take action that is driven by fear, and not something that you're going to really want to do, and not something that's going to make the most impact on the world and your personal life. And one other thing that really helps with anxiety is being out here in nature and being with the trees, going for a walk and breathing in really fresh air. It's so much easier to meditate when you're outside in nature, and it's just, it even, you know, I find that my food tastes better and is more enjoyable when I'm sitting outside eating, and you know, the birds are singing, and you can just hear the different sounds, and it's very pleasant and gets you into a very calm state. So I typically get out and go for a walk at least once a day. And it's very helpful, especially if you're craving things. You know, just go for a walk, take a quick walk, kind of breathe in some fresh air, and I think you'll find that your anxiety has lowered, and maybe you'll be able to control that desire to eat cooked food or to do whatever you were thinking about doing. So really focus on your anxiety. Realize that this is anxiety, and that all this you know, ridiculous action that's being taken that is going against what you really want at your core is driven by anxiety. And just notice the anxiety, just notice it. And that's one of the most helpful things you can do and beneficial things you can do for controlling it, is just realizing and seeing it for what it is when it happens. And then you can really understand the anxiety, you can understand how the ego works, and that will help you to sort of you know what to do when it happens again. So really take note of your anxiety. Definitely focus on it when it comes up. And that's my little tip for today. Just get back to natural law and natural living. You know, live life the way Mother Nature designed it, and eat the things she provided for us, and realize that this is all kind of a big illusion, and that everything is one, and anxiety is just pulling you more into the illusion. So that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe for more videos on fruitarianism, natural living, and spirituality, and I'll talk with you guys in the next video.